Alright everyone, welcome to Ark Survival Evolved. This video is primarily for new players, but if you're a seasoned veteran and you want to see the stats that I use versus the stuff you use, then go ahead, come watch. So when talking about settings, one thing I want to note before we jump into this is that if I don't talk about a setting, then it's on default, and I haven't had, through natural gameplay, I haven't found a need to step in and change the setting. So if there's something I don't talk about and you want to know more about it, comment down below and I will try to get back to you guys. Alright, so let's talk about the most important settings. Difficulty level. Just keep this all the way up. It keeps your loot drops as good as they can be, which sucks. And keeps your dinos at level 150. Very important. Next, let's talk about all these resistances and damage stats right here. Alright, so dino damage. I'd keep all of these at 1.0 unless you're a new player. If you're a new player, maybe tone down your dino damage just a little bit. Maybe to 0.8, 0.7, whatever you want. But I just think that this game is not very noob friendly. And so if you're dying a ton at the beginning of the game, maybe tone down the dino damage just a little bit, so that way, you don't die so much. Alright, next important setting, XP multiplier. I'm at 5.0, I like quick XP, I like quick level ups, especially for me and for my dinos in the late game, right? I'm trying to level up my dinos to go do a boss raid. Sometimes it takes forever to level all 20 dinos up that you need. So, XP multiplier, I keep it at 5, you can keep it a little bit lower if you'd like. Taming speed, I keep my taming speed at 3. It's a little bit slow, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I find myself AFKing just waiting on things to tame. If you want this a little bit faster, like 4 or 5.0, that's fine. I keep it down at 3 because it forces me to go get good quality taming items, so like raw mutton or to use kibble. Using this higher taming speed basically forces me to use those different things. Alright, harvest amount. Harvest amount, right, strictly decides how much you're going to get from chopping down a tree or from harvesting a bush. I keep this at 3.0. I don't think it's too bad. It's not too slow. It's not too quick. I find it to be a good balance. And dino harvesting damage, I keep it at 4, just a little bit higher than the default. That way my dinos can harvest stuff just a little bit quicker. One thing I want to mention in this drain category, water drain, food drain, stamina drain, is that if you want to turn down the water and food drain a little bit to like maybe 0.8, that way you don't starve or get thirsty as quickly, I just keep it at 1.0. But if it's bothering you, if you're like, my character's always hungry, then you can turn this down. Alright, dino character health recovery. So this will not affect combat in any way. All this will affect is how long you're waiting. This affects how long after a combat session, so after fighting a boss, or after fighting some dinos in a cave, right? How long it takes for your dino's health to refill back up to max. And so I keep this higher, not 5.0, because I hate waiting on my dinos to heal so I can continue through a cave. It is a terrible thing. And when you raise dinos, when you breed them, they spawn at like 10% of their max HP. So this will make it so your newborn dinos will reach max HP faster too. And to be honest, I think 5.0 might be a little bit slow. I might do it a little bit higher in the future. Alright, dino count. Do not change dino count. Please keep it at 1.0. This means the max amount of dinos will spawn. I haven't had any problems with my game running, or I haven't thought that there were too many dinos in any area at any point. Just keep this at the max. Don't mess with it, please. Alright, going through these checkmark settings, I'm just going to kind of scroll for a second, let you guys see what I've got. Scrolling back up. The only things I'd say are worth mentioning, third person camera. This doesn't hurt anything, just gives you the option to play in third person. You're playing in single player, so notifications about players joining and leaving should not matter. Crosshair, you can turn this off for more immersion, but I like having it on so I know where I'm actually pointing or aiming or shooting. Showing map location is great. It just helps you find out where you are. It's good to have. Maximum difficulty, as it says, it'll just force the max level to be 150 on your map, and this is great to have. Highly recommend it. Talking more about difficulty, keep maximum difficulty on and keep single player settings off. Maximum difficulty will make sure your dinos spawn at 150, which is great to have. Use single player settings is the worst setting in the game. What it does is when you turn it on, it messes with a ton of other settings in the game, like boss health, your dinos, like how much damage you take, and it just changes literally a ton of different settings that just, I don't know, it messes everything up. It basically makes all the work you did up here negligible. You know, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because this just changes things in the background without telling you. So please do not use single player settings. If you're playing single player, yes, but do not turn this on. It is a terrible thing to have. PvP gammas look great because you can turn up your brightness so you can see at night. Corpse locator is great, you know, helps you find your body when you're looking after you've died. And let's see, allow flyer speed leveling. This is also great as well. Basically means you can spend level ups to make your RGs fly quicker, right? So you can make RGs way more bearable, or you can make Pteranodons like little flying bullets through the air. Alright, moving on to advanced settings. This is the check marks I have going on here. The only important thing I would say is allow cave building. This lets you build in caves. It's pretty self-explanatory. All these sliders are pretty irrelevant. I wouldn't mess with them. Non-permanent diseases, make sure you have this on so you don't die from mega rabies and then spawn back in and still have mega rabies. Allow cave flyers. Turn this off if you think you're gonna abuse it. So this makes it so you can fly through caves, but that means you don't have to, in most cases, you don't even have to do the cave. You can fly over top of all the centipedes and the spiders and the megalanias and just fly straight to the artifact. And if you think you're gonna abuse that, too much of a temptation for you, then don't have this on. I have this on for specific scenarios where I want to take a flyer in because I'm trying to do something. But I try not to cheese my caves. So this next batch of sliders is pretty irrelevant, and now we get down to the breeding section. The breeding section is probably my most controversial part of these settings. I hate waiting on dinosaurs to breed. I hate raising baby dinosaurs. I think it's not a game mechanic that I find fun. So all my stats are boosted through the roof, and you know, it makes things take minutes rather than hours or days. So here they are, right? Mating interval is way down so dinos can mate very quick. Eggs hatch very quickly. Baby dinos will mature quick. You need to change this food consumption speed to 0.2 or something lower, so that way your baby dinos, when they mature quickly, they don't starve to death. Talking more about breeding, we have the cuddle interval, grace period, lose imprint, and the imprint stat scale multiplier. I keep all this stuff, basically makes it so I can imprint my dinos immediately and not have to worry about losing, like I have a big grace period and I don't have to worry about losing quality imprints because of it. The other important stat here is imprint stat scale multiplier. So when you imprint a baby dino, it will get a stat buff. It'll move faster, it'll do more damage, it has more damage resistance. And so keeping this at 1.0 is like base. I would recommend turning this up to like maybe 1.5 or 2. 2.5 is probably about the highest I would go. I would not go higher than 2.5 because then you're starting to make your imprinted dinos OP, right? You're going to be able to imprint stuff and it'll just slaughter everything in its sight. So again, 1.5 to 2.5, wouldn't go anywhere past that. Alright guys, Meowcaroni from the future here. One other thing that I forgot to mention in these breeding settings is that to run these breeding settings, you need to change one of the game files. So obviously that is something exclusive to PC where you can go into the actual game files on your computer and change it. And so you need to change something in the game files that allows you to get a 100% imprint every single time. Because without changing these, or without changing that file, you will not get a 100% imprint every time. You'll probably get like a 5% imprint. I'm going to upload another video showing how to change the game files and specifically change this breeding setting. But if you guys don't want to worry about imprinting, you guys can still run these settings, but then just disable imprint dino buff, right? That way you can still breed dinos extremely quickly, but you don't have to worry about getting the imprint. So last thing I'll say on this, if you're running these breeding settings, either disable the imprint buff or watch the quick video I'm going to upload that shows how to change the in-game files so you can get a 100% imprint every time. Alright, that's the only thing I want to say about that. Back with the rest of the video. Alright, so as a new player, I hated nighttime in this game because nighttime is pitch black. But what I would recommend you do is turn up the brightness and leave these all at 1.0. Because this will mess with the game, the in-game clock, and there are multiple maps over here, like Aberration for example, where the day and night cycle are crucial to the gameplay experience. Things happen on Aberration at nighttime that you can only do at night, and so do not change this cycle or day and nighttime speed, especially if you're playing on Aberration. If you hate nighttime, play on Extinction. Extinction, there is no nighttime, so. But if you hate nighttime, then maybe just try to turn up your gamma, put some lights in your base, whatever you gotta do, because this really messes with the game if you mess with this. The last stat I want to talk about in this little section is crop growth speed. This is at 30x. So when you're playing single player, the game is not running in the background when you turn it off. But if you're playing on a private server, the game continues to run even if you're not in the game. Even if you log off and turn it off, the game is still running. So if you're playing single player, I'd keep your crop growth speed really high. If you're playing on like a server, keep this close to base, like 1 or 2 times or 3x, because the crops will continue to grow when you're not playing. But it is a pain to just sit there and AFK for hours waiting on your crops to grow when you're playing single player. So this will make it so your crops will grow quickly, almost like simulating that they grow in the background while you're, you know, like a private server. One other stat that I forgot to mention is this resource respawn. It's right here in the middle of all this cuddle and imprint stuff. So this basically changes how quick resources respawn. I hate waiting long on resources to respawn. This is pretty quick, I'm not gonna lie. I would probably change this to like 0.1 if I was you guys. 0.1 is probably a pretty good setting. It just makes it so you don't have to wait so long on like metal and crystal and obsidian and things like that to respawn after harvesting them. With a respawn that quickly, it'll make bushes respawn like almost instantly, which is kind of funny, but anyway. Alright, moving into the last section here, we have wild dino stats per level, tame dino stats per level, tame dino add per level, stat affinity. And so for wild dinos, I keep it all the same. For tamed, important thing to mention, I keep weight at 3 times because I want my dinos to be able to carry more stuff. I keep my movement speed at 1.5. That way, when I level them up, they get more movement speed. Same thing in here. 1.5, 3.0. And same thing down here, 1.5 and 3.0. I just really want to make sure my dinos can carry lots of stuff and move around. Player stats per level, I'm telling you guys, don't mess with any of this other than carry weight, so you can carry more stuff. Keep mine at 2.5. And fortitude. I keep my fortitude at 2 times because I just don't think you get enough per level up. I just really don't. You know, and so I keep this at 2x. Some people might disagree, but if you keep it at 1.0, it kind of forces you to go get an otter, right? Because otters help you, they give you bonus fortitude for having an otter on your shoulder. So 1.0 if you want to go get an otter. Not every map has an otter though, so I go to 2.0. That's just me. The last thing I'm going to mention down here is show floating damage text. I like to have this on. Some people like it off to make the game more immersive, but I like this on because it will show me exactly how much damage I'm doing with dinos, with guns, with spears, with everything. Very last thing we have is I buff the supply crates and I buff the fishing loot because the loot in this game is really garbage. I try to buff this, not make the loot so bad, and I buff crafting skill because you can get screwed over really bad in crafting skill bonuses, so I put this up just to try to boost it. Alright, well that is it for my single player settings in Ark. If you guys enjoyed, drop a like. If you have questions, or you guys want to, or if you guys disagree about any different settings, please comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And I really hope you enjoy the game if you're new to it, and I hope these settings help you. Alright, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.